Good morning. It's day 19 of my Citadel summer here, July 13th, 2025. Today I want to talk about one of the most fundamental topics for new Bitcoiners, and that is buying Bitcoin. So if that's where you are in your Bitcoin journey, here's some things that I've learned on mine. There's a couple of different ways to buy Bitcoin. I'd say probably four different ways to buy Bitcoin, things you should keep in mind. Most of you are going to buy your Bitcoin from an exchange. Here's some things to look for on the exchange when you buy Bitcoin. One, look at the spread. That means how much more than the current spot price of Bitcoin are you being charged. So if the current spot price of Bitcoin is $117,000, what is the exchange charging you? And you want to look for an exchange that has a low spread. There are places that will charge higher than the spread for extra value. That may be a place where you can get non-KYC Bitcoin, right? There are some places you can do that. Typically an exchange, a custodial exchange, meaning that the exchange is going to take your money, you buy Bitcoin from them, but you don't get the keys to your Bitcoin, should charge a low spread. Different jurisdictions have different exchanges where you can buy Bitcoin. Find the one in your area that has a low spread, and low fees are super important too. So if you're buying Bitcoin regularly, a lot of them allow you to set up a dollar cost average, and there are no fee exchanges. So low spread, no fees, Bitcoin only is really important. Many exchanges, some of the biggest ones like Coinbase and Binance, you can buy anything from there. Any kind of crypto token. Try to find one that's Bitcoin only if you can, right? What else? So low spread, no fees. You should be able to transfer your Bitcoin from the exchange to self-custody when you're ready for that. And many exchanges will let you transfer your Bitcoin for zero fees, right? I know an exchange that I use, I get a certain number of transfers every month for no cost. I have to wait longer. They say they guarantee the transfer within a certain number of hours. One of my exchanges, it's 24 hours, right? And they will do it for no fees. That adds up over time. If you're going to, if you're getting into Bitcoin and you have the conviction to buy Bitcoin regularly, that can add up over time, especially if you're dollar cost averaging. Because what you want to do is, maybe build up enough Bitcoin so when you transfer it, you're going to have a UTXO, an unspent transaction output. Basically, the size of the chunk of Bitcoin that you're going to transfer into your cold storage should be big enough that it's usable, moving forward. And we can talk about that later. As a matter of fact, we probably will. Some exchanges allow you to make transfers via Lightning, and that's a good option as well. So non-custodial, Bitcoin only, low spread, low fees, right? So when you're transferring, they don't charge you. And zero fee, even better. Those are all things you should look for in a custodial exchange. There are non-custodial exchanges. In the United States, we have the Bitcoin Way. They will not hold your Bitcoin. You pay for the Bitcoin and they transfer it to you right away. So you have to have a wallet set up to receive it right away. And they'll send it either on-chain or via Lightning. That is an exchange. They do business in the United States and in Canada. Bull Bitcoin does the same thing. Again, they're available in Canada, right, and in other jurisdictions as well. And they don't custody your Bitcoin at all either. There's an exchange in the United States called River that actually shows proof of reserves, right, which is important too, because they're not rehypothecating your Bitcoin. When you purchase the Bitcoin from River, you can be sure that they have the Bitcoin that you purchased because they're audited and they publicly display this information. It's available to the public. And you can withdraw as much of your Bitcoin as you want. So you don't want withdrawal limits on your Bitcoin when you're using an exchange. Other ways to buy Bitcoin. You can buy Bitcoin without providing your KYC or know your customer information. For some people in some jurisdictions, this is really important because you don't want anyone to know who you are. You want to maintain your privacy with your money. And this is really the way that Bitcoin was designed. You're going to pay more for your Bitcoin. If you're going to use no KYC exchanges, these peer-to-peer mediated by an exchange, look for some of these in your jurisdiction. There's some big ones out there. Typically, you have to build up a trust rating on these, some of them, right? You will pay more for your Bitcoin, typically. There are some options to buy no KYC Bitcoin from ATMs. You put in your local currency and you can get Bitcoin that way. You always pay higher fees and you always pay a really high spread for that, but it may be worth it for you, right? And usually you can only do that for relatively small purchases. The last way, and this is a way that I think is really important, if once you build up your conviction and you find a community of Bitcoiners, you can buy Bitcoin from somebody peer-to-peer, and that really ideally is, the purest form of, Bitcoin. Find a community of Bitcoiners and work out how to buy Bitcoin from them. Now, the downside of that is you have to find that community and you have to build up trust with that group of Bitcoiners. All right, day 19. We're on the way. Citadel summer. Thanks for checking in. Bye.